All right, we are at the week 2 summative solution. So I will start with these and hopefully get through this video as quick as I can. With mean absolute deviation, number 3, the first question on the test after the names talks about what is the MAD, the mean absolute deviation. So we have to find the mean first, which is the total, divided by the number of data points or data pieces in this. We have 8 data pieces. So the total, when you add those all together, 8, 9, 10, 12, 12, 13, 18, and 22, will give you a total of 104. I did that already. So I didn't have to use a calculator and bore you guys to death. 104 divided by 8 gives you 13 for the mean. So now you find the deviation. That's the D part of the MAD. Deviation, how far away? All right, absolute values mean we're always taking the positive number. Think on a number line. How far away are they? That's subtraction. 13 minus 8 is 5. 13 minus 9 is 4. So on and so forth. We do this for each piece of data. 13 minus 12, you do that twice because it shows up twice. Minus itself is 0. 18 minus 13 is 5. And 22 minus 13 is 9. You add those all together and you get a total of, oh shoot, what did I do? I guess I'll do that right now. 9, 12, 13, 14, 19, 28. You get a total of 28. To find the average deviation, we divide again by how many pieces there are. There were 8 pieces. So on average, you are about 3.5 away from the mean. So mean absolute deviation rounded to the nearest tenth was 3.5. All right, number 4, this was the weights of newborn calves, the first question. So this is the same question, 4 and 5 back to back are the same values. One asked for the mean, one asked for the MAD. So the mean is just the total again. When we add those all together, you will get 900. There were 12 newborn calves, or count them. And that's a 75-pound average, or 75-pound mean. So on average, the calves were weighing 75 pounds, which was the answer to number 4. All right, we're going to use that same information to find the MAD. So subtract each of these from 75, take the absolute value or the positive value. 75 minus 63, we're going to get 12. 10 for the next one. 7, 5, 3, 75 minus itself 0. I'll put it in even though it doesn't change anything. And then go in the other direction, 77 minus 75 is 2. 79 minus 75 is 4. 80 minus 75 is 5. 85 minus 75 is 10. And 94 minus 75 is 19. Again, the total of all those will give you 80 divided by the 12 that are there. And you should get 6.6 repeating in your calculator, which when you look at your answers, this is rounded to the nearest 100th, so 6.67 is going to be the answer that you wanted. All right. 6 and 7 talk about the concepts of mean absolute deviation. It's a variation measure to see how the data is consistent or varied. 72 and 71 were the average weights between Chloe's and Sydney's calves. Sticking with calf weights here as the idea, but anyhow, they both have a MAD, or an average mean absolute deviation of 8.5. All right, what that's going to tell you is the consistency of the weights are about the same because they are both about 8.5 pounds away on average from the average weight, even though their average weights are different. All right, number 7. True or false, if the MAD, or the mean absolute deviation of 2 data sets are the same, then the spread of data should have about the same consistency. We just talked about that one in the problem before, which that would be true. All right, when the MADs are the same, they're equally consistent, even though they're not necessarily the same answers. All right, they're just consistent. All right, 8 through the end of the test deals with box and whisker plots. All right, it says according to the box and whisker plot below, what is the highest score on the test? Data points that go on the test or on a box and whisker plot. No matter how many students were in the class or how many pieces of data, you only put 5 pieces of data on there. The lowest, the highest, the median, and then the 2 quartiles. All right. So the question was, what was the highest score on the test? Even though we don't know how many people scored a 100, there was at least one, so 100 is your answer there. And number 9, what percent of the class scored above a 72? This was the lowest score, highest score, the median, meaning the halfway point, meaning half of the class scored below 78, or an 88, half the class scored above an 88. These are the quartiles, standing for quarters. Alright, so what that means is 1/4 of the class scored between a 38 and a 72. That means the other 3/4 of the class scored above a 72. So what class scored above a 72? 3/4, which is 75%. Number 10, what was the median score on the test? Just talked about that earlier. The median was the middle score out of all the values. Let's say there was 30 students, and 88 is in the middle, so 15 students scored below an 88, 15 students scored above an 88. So 88 is your median. And the final one's 11 and 12. These are double box and whisker plots, so it's a comparative thing. And we're comparing the noon temperatures in Sunnyvale and Marytown. Maybe this was for a month. We don't know. So we're looking at these, and according to that, which town had the greater range? Range is the high value minus the low. Alright, so for the range, the high value for Sunnyvale was 72, the low value was 59. You see where they go across there, that's a 13-degree difference, or 13-degree range. For Marytown, the high was 70, and the low was 58, for a difference of 12 degrees. Sunnyvale had the greater range. Alright, and the last one. Number 12 says, which statement's supported by the given data? So we're looking at the 2 of these. Alright, we can go through each one. Sunnyvale has the lowest noon temperature. That's false. It was 59, Marytown was lower at 58. Marytown has a greater interquartile range. That's between the quartiles. So the range here, this was a 68 for the upper quartile and a 60. So that's a range of 8 degrees. This was 67 and 60 for a range of 7 degrees. So that's true. Marytown did have a greater interquartile range. And we can prove the other ones. The median is the same. Obviously that's not true when we compare the 2 medians. Sunnyvale was higher, and Marytown has the greatest noon temperature. Once again, definitely false. That's 70, that's 72. All right, so we're looking for the B. Marytown was the greatest of the interquartile ranges there. All right, that's the 10 questions from week 2. If you need to reassess that, we'll do that by the end of the week. You can go back and look at any of those lessons as needed. But definitely, review this a time or 2 and email me if you have any questions. And other than that, have a good day. Bye.